Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and happy Monday to you. Miguel, Holly, Producer Kelbin. We are also streaming live on the Miguel and Holly Facebook and YouTube channels. So you can always go take a look at that if you don't. If you just listen to the podcast. Also, leave us a 5-star rating, please, wherever you listen to the podcast. We'd really appreciate it. And a nice review. And make sure to hit up the Miguel and Holly fam / platypus posse group on Facebook.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. Go chat there about stuff that we talk about on the show. How was everybody's weekends?
Good. It's good. Oh, good. You turned the music down. I mean, not that I minded. I just couldn't hear that. That's good.
It was all right.
It was good. Mine was like, I feel like it flew by. Okay, here's what I just popped into my head. So I'm just going to go with this because it's a podcast and I didn't really plan it out. But so I think I'm just going to eventually turn into this like weird hippie lady.
What do you mean?
I say that because I finally did the thing that I've been kind of wanting to do. I made a purchase for myself that I've been wanting to do for a while, but this, like, I feel like solidifies it. So I was shopping. I can say where I was shopping. Where's the podcast?
Yeah.
I was shopping in downtown St. Pete yesterday, which has a bit of like a, kind of loosey-goosey sort of hippie-ish flair anyway. And I found this adorable little store that was like down an alleyway and you kind of had to like walk down and then like you didn't even know if it was open or not. And I ended up in this store with like those little bowls that you gong and they make noise and like crystals and all this stuff. So I was like, well, we're in the right spot. Well, in that store, they had these very flowy, almost Indian looking dresses. They look so like loose and flowy. And I see them sometimes either out on like a sidewalk sale, like if you walk past like vendors that have little booths. So I bought one. I'm one step closer to being that crazy witchy lady. Like I bought a loose flowy gown and I tried it on and Maya was with me and she was like, I was like, well, what do you think? And it fit miraculously. The one that I just picked up just happened to fit. And I was like, what do you think? And she's like, I mean, it's not really you, but it looks nice. And I want to be like, it's the new me.
Like there, I need my gong sound effect for that right there.
Yeah, that's the gong sound. But anyway, I just feel like I was like, this is the time. I'm going to buy this crazy hippie dress and where to wear it. I don't know. Not here, not work, but I'm gonna wear it sometime.
I mean, but why not?
I mean, hippie Holly era.
Yeah.
I'm entering, the hippie area. And also the era where if I'm the villain in your story, then that's how it's got to be. And maybe that dress goes with it.
I mean, listen, all the sound effects.
Yeah.
Kelvin's still getting used to all the sound effects that I've got my bag of tricks over here. I've been thinking about this a lot lately that I think that we're living in a beautiful time that you can have different eras of how you want to present to the world. And I thought about this because that story came out last week that I don't remember if we talked about it or not on the air, but Demi Lovato, she changed her pronouns back to she, her, because for like a year they were they, them. And she was basically saying that like, hey, I'm fluid. It changes. So like, this is where I am right now in this moment. And my first thought was my, I guess I'll call it my old school brain of media and branding. And then also just being an LGBTQ person, that one of my missions in life is to help people understand where we come from and who we are. And not gonna lie, I'll complete transparency. When I first saw that story, I was like, girl, you making it too confusing for people. Like, how are you expecting old Betty from Des Moines to understand that and go with it? And then, when their child or a coworker comes out as non-binary, and then they're already like, wait, what the hell? And then you're changing back.
Yeah.
So that was my initial thought. And then
I had a similar thought. And before
Right.
you get into the new thought, my thought wasn't like it's too confusing. My thought was like, we had so many explosive fights about like, call me this. And
Right.
then like it was like this whole like a hurricane. And then now it's just kind of like, just kidding.
Right. Right.
And that's where I
Something
first
like
thought.
that,
I was like,
Mhm.
but we were fighting the fight.
Right.
And
I
now
would
it's
correct
like,
people for you.
I
Right.
corrected people for you. I was angry at people for you. And now you're like, what the fuck? I don't care. I'm like, no, I care still.
Right.
Anyway, that's how I felt.
But then I said to myself, if that's how she feels now, who's to say that she shouldn't be able to do that? Because maybe it's not for Mary in Des Moines to understand. You should just go, okay, cool. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. Because people change their names. How many times did Prince change his name? How many times has Kanye changed his name? How many times has P. Diddy changed his name?
And we're still calling him P. Diddy, though. Like, I'm not trying to keep up, though. But then I don't want to have that energy with Demi Lovato because I don't want to be disrespectful. But like, I have stopped figuring out what we're trying to call P. Diddy. I'm still calling him Diddy.
Right. But I mean, just also giving, like saying that, like, if that's how you feel, if P. Diddy, Kanye, whoever wants to change their name, change your name. Get it. That's fine.
Right.
We should respect that and just go, okay, cool. I will make every effort to understand and to respect and to go with the flow. But otherwise, get it. And so then that led me into my thought of like, I'm in this weird space right now where I like my foundation isn't solid because, you know, we've moved here. We're in a new space and I'm trying to figure out like this new company and new bosses and all this. Everything is new in a new city, and new friends. And I'm like, okay, so like, who is Miguel right now for this era? You know, like Miguel always wants to be fancy. I always want to be fancy. Like that's my dream. But like that's not really comfortable to always wear those type of clothes. But like I also love my like very stretchy, chubby shirts that are very like Hawaiian. That's like very casual and laid back. But then there's also me who like wants to be like a fierce gay man and like wear super skin tight stuff and just be like, bitch, I don't give a fuck. You know?
Yeah.
Why can't I do all of them?
She's fluid.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's when I saw that story last week about Demi Lovato, I was like, huh, if Demi Lovato can sort of change that, why do I have to pick a certain lane that I have to be in when it comes to how I dress or how I present myself to the world, you know?
Right. Maybe is the issue coming in where it's like, is it anger if we get it wrong?
I think people just don't understand fluidity. And they don't want to understand fluidity.
Well, because we were raised in a very binary society.
Right.
It's either this or that. We weren't raised to understand anything and I mean, that goes for more than sexuality.
Right.
We were not raised to understand anything other than things are black or white.
Right.
There's no gray. But what the biggest universal joke in the planet is that there is no black and white.
Right.
Like,
Right.
We were fed a bowl of lies.
It's true.
That's my thought.
And I think that's why I'm like starting to truly understand what it means to be fluid and appreciate it. Like not just lift it up, you know, like I have friends that there's a friend of mine, Nick in Tampa, who like will go out and like he'll wear high heels out, you know, but then in the same breath, you'll catch that bitch lifting weights up in the gym with the best of them. You know, he's strong as fuck and very masculine, but he can switch it up depending upon what his mood is. And I've always been like, girl, do you get it? But that can never be me though, because like I just don't know. But like, girl, you've got all the bravery in the world, honey. But I couldn't do that because I just don't know. I just don't know. But I'm coming to that point where I'm like, girl, who cares? And I think I've always like been wanting to get to that point in my life where I was like, who cares? And people's like, well, when you get older, you feel it and you'll feel it. And I'm like, well, all right, well, we're just sort
it's
of
slow. There, and even that said it, was I'm grateful to the people that are like, oh, a switch flipped when I turned 30 or whatever, or 40 or 50. But I think typically for most people, it's a lot slower.
Yes, it is. Because I feel like there are different events in your life that let you, that are sort of like the litmus test that you're putting out there to be like, okay, like, can I do this? Can I do that? And then it's like, all right, well, no one's like, you know, chasing me down the road, for whatever reason, trying to kill me for this. So if this is what I want to do, right? If I want to wear a wig out one night, I'm gonna wear a wig.
I totally relate to everything you're saying because this year I feel like I've been pushing for at least in my case, right? To somebody else, this could be like a regular Monday. But for me, earlier this year, I had always said, like, I'm only going to dye my hair until I've lost the weight like I did the first time I dyed my hair.
Mm.
And then it came to a point where I was like, why do I need to wait
Mm.
to lose weight to dye my hair? I can do that whenever and still feel great about it. So
Yeah.
I did. I randomly just one day didn't tell anybody. And I'm very much the type of person to be like, should I do it? Should I do it this color? What do you think? Should I do it like that? I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna
Mm.
just dye my hair pink one day, show up home, and I don't care. I don't need to ask anybody's advice on it. And I did that, and it felt so, so, so good. And then for my birthday, my friend gave me a glow in the dark like palette for your eyes, and I'm like, I don't have no fucking idea how to put on makeup. And
Ooh.
I waited like 3 months to like put it on, and I was like, oh my god, this is really fun. And all I did was put like 3 little dots on my eyes for a concert, and it was
Right.
fun. It felt so good. I
Yeah.
bought a pearl necklace here in Charlotte.
Ooh.
It was like
Oh.
$2.50. I was like snatching that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like it
Yep.
was it's fun to play with little soft notes of femininity in my style, and that's been really fun to explore.
I'm curious, Kelvin, what made you say to yourself, I couldn't dye my hair unless I lost the weight? What was speaking to you about that?
I felt like I hit my peak in 2020, and it almost felt like I could do anything and wear anything.
You mean
when I had-
weight-wise? You hit your peak?
weight-wise,
Okay.
yes.
Mm.
Okay.
And there was this confidence that I had, and
Mm.
my parents were gone for some reason because at that time I was living at home. And my parents had gone out. I can't remember for what, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. Like nobody's gonna tell me anything. And that also, I waited a long time to dye my hair too because I was under my parents' roof and I was scared of what they would say. But after a while, I had worked so hard to lose like 40 or so pounds. I was looking good, I was feeling good, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking do it. This is what I've always wanted to do.
Mm.
And on top of that, my coworker also, we both did it at the same time, so that helped.
A little
Oh, yeah.
support always helps.
Yeah. So, and that's why I did that. And I had always said, like, I'm not going to do it again until I'm at that point again.
Mm.
Because I felt like it would look great being skinny and also dyeing your hair. And I thought to myself, I don't have to fucking wait for that.
No.
Mm.
But super toxic thinking.
Yeah. Like, what are we putting it off for? Also, if you're like looking to boost yourself with a fit, like there's nothing like doing a little hair color to boost your
Mhm.
self-esteem and appearance.
And it did. It really
Yeah.
did.
So it's like instead of waiting to one influences the other, it's like a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like when you finally do the thing that you've been wanting to do, but you're like, well, let me wait, let me wait, let me wait. I mean, how many memes have we all shared or looked at or liked and been like, that's right, don't wait for tomorrow, do it now.
Book that plane ticket.
Yes. And then you're like, okay, but I have to wait though on dyeing my hair
Right.
or getting the flowy dress or, wearing the wig out one night, like what is that thing that you've been wanting to do that you're scared of being judged about? Who's going to say something? And if they do,
Mm-hmm.
how is that going to affect your life? How is that going to change your life if they do say something, if you do that one thing that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah.
If someone
It's
said something
hard,
to me
yeah.
out, and they're like, oh, faggot, why you got that on? I'd be like, yes, I do enjoy my husband. Thank you. Okay. You like the wig? Fuck off, bitch.
Yeah, like the wig. Fuck off, bitch. I like
Right.
it.
I mean, so it's just something to I think when we read those memes online, I think sometimes we have to think about like, not just go, oh my gosh, yes, sis, that is great, but go, okay, ho. How can I apply that to me right now? Like, how does
Mhm.
that affect me right now?
Mm.
So it actually is something more meaty and powerful than just something that we put up on our Insta story for 24 hours,
Right.
Absolutely. And like if a meme will hit me on Instagram, I often share it to the story because I'm like, if I found inspiration in this, hopefully someone else does too. And they can maybe go do something. And that we should remind ourselves, like, it's not just seeing, it's also the action. that does it. So I don't know. I'm gonna wear this dress. I don't know. I don't do that much stuff. So maybe I'll have
Just
to
wear
wear
it
it
to
to work.
work.
Go to the grocery
The
store.
bad thing is a little chilly.
Oh,
My tits are out. They're kind of out.
Hey,
Mama's is
well,
out. In fact, I need to put a little pin
Put a little jean
because
jacket.
otherwise, like a nipple could just come out.
Oh, my. What a
I
joy.
have a bra on with it because I could wear it with no bra, but I'm like, listen, I'm all for like, yay, but like I it's too much for a whole nipple as to pop out. Like, so I need to just
girl, I Heart Tampa
Paint it
ain't
up.
ready, honey.
no, they're
I
not.
Heart Charlotte ain't ready, honey. They're like,
no, they're not.
"Woo." What is that
Yikes.
one thing in your life, whether it is career-wise, body-wise, travel-wise, anything? Like, what's that one thing that you've always been like, I'd love to do that, but I'm just a little scared. I'm just a little nervous. What would people say? What would they do? Whether it's, studying to be a witch, Holly, if that's the route you wanted to go, or Kelbin, if you wanted to do drag or whatever. Like, what is that one thing that you want to do, but society and life is holding you back?
Well, there's one major one, but I can't even talk about it because it's too scary. So the big one is too scary even to talk about, which sucks. I'm gonna work on that, but it involves like my kids, so it's not just me. Like if
Right.
it was just me, probably that wouldn't be as scary, but it involves my kids, so I can't even talk about it. But you know what it would be actually for me? Wait, were you asking or was it rhetorical?
No, it's a podcast, girl. I want you to
Talk
be
about
like,
it, girl.
all right, that's it, guys. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Read the
See you later.
comments.
Bye.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
I just started talking. I'm like, that's fine. I would not give a fuck about what my hair looks like on the day to day, kind of like today, but I also feel like I have to like make apologies about it today. So like I did it, but I saw someone in the bathroom and I'm like, it's Monday, and like, it just like, I would stop worrying about like straightening or curling ironing it, or I would just let it look how it looks. And it like, I usually end up feeling better about myself when I do style it, because then I feel like I look put together, I feel put together, and I can do the damn thing. But like today, I washed it yesterday, let it air dry, took my kid for a haircut. The hair cutter girl, also called stylists, was like, here's some product because your hair's wet. Do you want to just let it go wavy? And I was like, I guess. So I scrunched it all up, and it's just doing this lion thing that it does sometimes, which it's not even defined waves at the moment. And like underneath, it looks like a damn poodle. So
No.
I'm like, oh, that's not cute. But I would do it more often because it's less stress. I could actually wash my hair more often. So I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Kelbin?
That's my thing.
I've said this for a really long time. I want to do a podcast, but I hold myself back because I'm always like, why? It needs to be perfect. It needs to be different from everything that's out there. But it also has to really have a really strong co-host. But I also need to plan it, and I also want to balance everything else in my life. And I don't know. And then a part of me starts questioning, like, do I want to do it? Because why haven't I started it, or why haven't I sat down and planned it? So that it's like a cycle of like questioning myself, or when am I going to do it, and when should I start, and why am I holding back so much? I think that's probably the main thing as to what I'm holding back on.
What sort
I
of
get the
podcast?
perfectionist thing, by the way. I get that. Sorry, go ahead.
It's perfectionist, but then you end up not doing it.
Right.
I don't get it.
I mean, in most of the things that you've probably seen this before when it comes to starting any sort of project, podcast, whatever, is just starting. It doesn't have to be perfect, because listen, when you start a podcast, ain't nobody gonna listen.
Right.
No.
It's just you talking and your co-host, and you're just talking, but then you slowly get better, and it slowly gets better, and everything starts to come about. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race, can you even view it anywhere because it's so bad?
Oh.
That filter.
Like RuPaul, like I don't think I remember that was a rumor a couple years ago that like the first season was so bad because she just wanted to do it for so long, and they were like, all right, we're gonna set up shop in RuPaul's garage and just slap together some sets and stuff and have some on the ring light. But it was so bad that like you can't even see it anywhere. But she just started. And now it's become this global phenomenon with, I mean, it's a cultural thing now where she's created a whole industry out of an idea, you know?
Right.
And she just said, all right, let's just put this little thing out here and then boom, you know? So it's like, that could be your podcast. It's just starting.
Yeah.
Just literally doing a 30-minute thing on whatever, you know, the case may be. You don't have to have a voiceover or anything, or Holly can do the voiceover because she does it and she can give it to you for free and stuff.
Love that.
Yes, I would absolutely do it for free for you. I would.
Thank you. I do love your radio voice. Your commercial radio voice. I love your
no,
regular
no.
voice too. But
I get it. I get it. But if you give me a script,
commercial
I'll be
voice.
like, I'll make it sound really good depending on what you want it to sound like. It could sound perky. It could sound sultry. Like we could just do all the things.
I love it.
Yes.
Or if you want me to just sound like me, I can do it too.
Miguel can't sound like anything else. But it's
No,
wonderful. Like,
I'm
listen
just
to that
me.
sentence. Miguel can't sound like anything else. That's beautiful because you can just sound like you. I mean, on the other hand, sometimes when we're doing promos, I mean, sometimes you got to sound like something else, but you can't. But that's okay. Oh, you're frozen.
No, that was me on purpose. I think,
What's yours?
I think for me, I'm toggling between a couple here. I think if I could do something without consequence, I think our show would probably be a little different.
So you mean you would change the show?
Yes. If I could do, you know, something without, you know, obviously like it's our show, but you know, we don't write the checks. It's not our show.
We're working for a company, a big
Right.
company.
Absolutely. So just sort of like an actor on a TV show or a movie, they can give suggestions, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones writing the check.
Right.
They're not the boss, and we're not the boss. We are employees putting on a show. I would change a couple of things to make it more impactful.
Okay.
I would make it, because I feel like we jump from like pop culture to drama to like, you know, we give a little inspiration where we can, but like, let's face it, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, like in today's world, like politics are very decisive or divisive.
Yeah.
Divisive, and it's a turnoff for a lot of people. And so I would make it to where we could try to do it where it's more fun and more entertaining, and it's not so angry, but sort
politics?
I don't want to say politics. Like, I don't want to be like, all right, so the Senate just passed a bill today about climate change, and we're just waiting for the House to pass it. But more like, here's how it applies to your life. More sort of service. Basically, like how I grew up listening to sort of top 40 radio in Atlanta, but then I also listened to urban radio, and urban radio does such a great job of weaving between those topics of like, hey, here's some shit you need to know about our community. Here's some like crazy, like nasty drama stuff that's going on. And then like, here's an inspirational quote from the Bible, you know, like where they weave between all of those topics where you like you're going into work or school and you're like, wow, I just got fed all the stuff. Whereas like top 40 radio doesn't delve into that route, and it never has. And so I would love to sort of bring that to the audience. But like, I feel like the powers that be, the people that make those decisions wouldn't. And that's just not what top 40 radio does, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that's not where it could go. So I guess, let me boil it down. Be more of a risk taker. Be more of a risk taker.
Would you, okay, so let me ask you this. Being more of a risk taker, is that doing it regardless or petitioning to the powers that be to let you do it?
Both. Just being able to.
Okay.
That ask is already a risk
Right.
sometimes.
No,
Right.
it is. It
No,
is.
I know, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you can just do it, or you can ask and then get the green light to do it with the blessing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like as a gay Black man who, I remember 10 years ago asking our life coach / talent coach years ago, like legit having a serious conversation, being like, do you think I will ever be able to host a morning show in a top 20, 25 market as an openly gay Black man?
Right.
Like, that was my legit, or like, will I have to be like a producer or a sidekick or someone behind the scenes and do a podcast on the side or something? But like, do you think people will see value in, having me lead the ship? And so, because that's how I started my career in that thinking, I think I sometimes make myself small and I just go along with it because I'm like, well, I mean, y'all know better, girl. Y'all run the company, y'all have been here forever. So like, let me not rock the boat because I'm just happy to be here. But it's like, when do you finally get to rock that boat to, make those changes,
Right. Right. Yeah. Is there a certain point?
I don't know.
Is it years put in? Is it ratings success? Is it cash
I think
brought in?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Probably.
I think it's a little bit of everything of, once you have the knowledge and the experience to wave in those waters. Cause like I said, you don't want to just, be like, hey guys, so we're not doing Queen City Secrets today. We're going to talk about what's happening in the Senate.
Gather round. It's a time for
It's
one
like
of
a
Uncle Miguel's
dance.
fireside
Yeah.
chats.
It's
It is
like
a dance.
Right.
It is.
It is. So that's something that I think about often when it comes to work. And then on the flip side of that, sort of what I was talking about is, and what we've talked about a couple times recently, is being more comfortable in my body. Like right now, I'm at like a good weight where I'm like, I've gotten myself back from the 20 pounds that I'd gained when we moved here.
You reeled it in a little bit.
And I was like, all right, girl, we don't need to eat potatoes and hamburgers and every day. You can have it. It's just, it's not every day.
Every meal, yeah.
Yeah, I just had to get myself back to the middle. But even being comfortable in all of my clothes. Because like I will literally sometimes before I go out on like a Friday or a Saturday night, and like I will look at like Lizzo's TikTok or Instagram and be like, bitch doesn't give a fuck. She feels good. She looks good. And she is going to work whatever she has on. And then I'll put my shirt on and be like, oh, but wait, you can see a little bit of a roll over here. I don't know. Maybe I'm put a little baggy shirt on. And I'm like, bitch, stop it.
That's good that you have these conversations with yourself.
Stop it. Well, I feel like it's a process. It's like you have to sort of like recognize you're having those thoughts. And then it's like you have to wear yourself down.
Awareness is everything.
Right.
And I mean, that goes for all kinds of things. I mean, man, in life in general, self-awareness. So many people lack self-awareness in general. And then that's just like the basic building block, let alone your awareness of your inner monologue to yourself, Miguel, the awareness of whatever the case may be. I just find, and I'm trying to like work with my kid on this because he don't really have self-awareness at 8.
No, not at all.
But that's where like I'm trying to start bringing it in because she's starting to have little tiny peaks of self-awareness or whatever. And so I'm just trying to keep her aware, but not try to, that's a delicate dance and a balance too of like, hey, be aware of yourself. Don't change like who you feel like you are in order to please people or things. But like there are some societal rules that we live by, like don't be annoying as fuck or whatever.
Don't walk down the street naked.
Right. Yeah. Things like that.
Don't pee in the street.
Correct. Trying not to have street peers.
That's one of my fears.
Peeing in the street?
No. Just not being self-aware, especially in a new situation or just anything in general. Like I never want someone behind my back to say like, did you see what he fucking did? Like, you know, he's not supposed to do that, right? So I'm always like, is that the right way to do it? Are you sure? Did I say that right?
Do you mean like in social situations or just in life in general?
All of it. All of it.
All of it.
When was the last time you had that thought? Like, were you hanging out with new people? Was it maybe here at work or?
Probably here at work. Like even working on this show, the first 2 weeks, I was definitely like that. And even being here now, like, oh my God, should I have done it that way? Should I have uploaded it? What if I didn't do that? Or what if, are they going to hate me? Are they? So it's little things like, it's those questions that, that pop up in my head. But I also try to listen to my fiance a lot of times because he's just like advice guru for me. And he always be like, if they need to tell you something to fix, they will tell you.
It's our job to tell you.
They are vets in this industry. They don't need to hide around the bush. But then, like, the inner saboteur in me is like, well, maybe they're just being nice because they really are nice people. And like, I don't know, maybe they'll just wait a few weeks and then they'll tell me like, hey, this is what I need to do. So, you know, it's those conversations in my mind.
Well,
Man.
I can tell you that that's not the case.
Thank you.
Miguel will usually tell you.
Yeah.
What's up?
I want either of you to tell me something.
I'm a bitch about it.
Oh.
I've already screamed at Kelbin a couple of times.
No, you
I'm like,
haven't.
"Get
Wait,
your
have
shit
you?
together! What are you doing?"
That was yesterday.
That was, that's okay.
Have you felt any of us like be that way or anything for like since you've been here? Anything? Any like diva behavior?
No, not at all. I mean, not that I expected it at all, but you know, when you see a show and then when you work on a show, it's completely different. And you guys just seem to be the same people on air and off air, which is really great. But I didn't expect anything otherwise. I just
But why wouldn't you though? Because I mean, obviously, like there are people in our industry where it is two different people.
Oh yes,
Jekyll and Hyde.
I have worked with many of you, but
people have.
This is the first time that I've applied for a job where I felt like, okay, I've put in some work and I have some things on my resume, and this is like a job that I had felt confident even applying for. Whereas the last time I applied for a radio job, I had nothing under my belt. So this is such a transitional period in my life where I feel like I have to prove myself. And I'm working with very successful people. So in a very successful company. So
if you mean us, are we the successful people?
No, he's talking about AJ.
Down the hall.
He's talking about John Boy and Billy and Woody and Wilcox.
It's bizarre to me that we're considered successful people. I'm like, bitch, we just trying to. It's the gay in the skirt trying to get our shit together. Still. I don't know.
All these years later, girl, we still just try to get our names on the board when we come say hi to a building. Holly and I, years ago, when we were interviewing for jobs with Kramer, who we used to work with back in the day, and we would go on these interviews with him. And whenever we'd walk into a building for an interview, they'd have like a big, like, welcome, Kramer! Woo! And then Holly and I would walk behind him and be like, our names aren't up there. We're just here, just the black and skirt girl. It's fine.
The black in the skirt, or the gay or the black gay in the skirt. Yes, we're like, we don't matter. That's fine.
So literally, when we came here to I Heart Charlotte, and then they had our faces that we were like, oh my God, they got our face on the damn wall, girl.
We took a picture. It's because we had humble beginnings.
Yes, honey, we sure did.
That's where it comes from. But we didn't get to talk about Kelbin's weekend yet. How was your weekend, sir?
Was that a rhetorical? Are you going to press a little button now?
Well, time to go.
I just remember, like, I was literally talking about my weekend, and then that's just all what happened after I talked about my weekend getting a dress. So, and then I just thought about how the fact that, like,
that's how podcast works. That's how.
No, so I'll sum it up. I did laundry, smoked a little bit, and my cat was terrorizing me in the middle of the night, and we built forts. The first one we did, actually, I sent you guys the video. She tore everything down. We had 2 baby gates. We had her cat box just thrown because she clearly has the strength to do it. And then the second night, which was last night, it actually like she didn't crush it, but we also put our toolboxes on the banister where
You got serious.
she couldn't push those things, and that allowed us to sleep through the night.
Oh, good.
Nice. Yes. So that's why I think I told Miguel I felt rested this morning. She didn't wake us up.
Like, so this cat that y'all have, who like, where's it from? Who got it?
My cousin actually rescued it from a family friend, and she was only holding onto it until she found a family, but she couldn't. So after a while, she was going to leave it at FIU, a university down in South Florida, and just let it roam because apparently that's a thing over there. And when we had come over to celebrate her graduation, she was like, "Do you want this cat?" And my fiance immediately fell in love. She was very sweet. And we were like, "Okay, sure." We brought her back home. She was fine. Few months come in. She starts peeing on our bed.
Oh.
And she's done it multiple times.
Oh.
And then we have found fixes. There was UTIs and we fixed it. And then she peed again. And
I was going to say, well, there's something probably wrong.
I don't know what it is because we've taken her to the doctor. We did the UTI thing. It got cleared. We got 2 litter boxes because apparently they need multiple. She is still peeing on stuff. And every time she pees and I get angry, nothing gets done. And my fiance is very much like, well, what can we do? We can't give her away.
Well, that's a big deal, though.
It is a big deal because I shouldn't
have
have
Because then you're going to be the house that smells like cat piss.
100%. It doesn't smell like cat piss, thank God. But I mean, it's so difficult because I would always hear radio bits of people going ham. It's either me or the cat. And now I am one of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, he just got her tattooed. And I know he loves the cat. And the cat is sweet sometimes. She is. She's not a mean cat. You can pick her up and kiss her and just toss her and that's it. It's just the peeing situation. It hasn't been fixed. And that really bothers me.
Yeah. Well, understandably so.
Is it
tattoo with a cat?
Tattoo with a cat.
Is it going to be you or the cat?
I don't know, but I'm getting there. And I know he's going to listen to this and he's going to be looking at me, side-eyeing me.
Oh.
But it almost feels that way.
I mean, no, but seriously, like if y'all can't find a solution, have y'all talked about what that looks like?
No, I mean, he's very adamant to listen to my concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to build something to hopefully keep her out on the banister. He's very, he's very good at building things. Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't gotten to that point where it's like it's me or the cat, but it's getting close. It's just not fair. I should not have to live with furniture. I should have nice furniture as I'm getting older. And like our couch isn't the most expensive thing in the world, but it costs a pretty penny.
Right.
And I shouldn't have to stay with piss smell. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. And we're not doing anything about it. It's like we have the 2 litter boxes. She's fine. She has her own little space. So what's the next thing? What's the next excuse? And that was my weekend.
Girl, I can't. Like I would be. Well, I hope that everything is diplomatically solved and every person that needs to find a home or animal finds a home.
Yeah. However that
Because, girl, there ain't no way. I'm sorry. The first time that any animal would pee on my bed, it would be done. It would be over. I would not but I'm also crazy. So I get it. Like, that's why my husband is like, all right, if we get a dog or when we do get a dog at some point, it's going to have to be a very special, long process because there are certain things that I need to happen for a dog to come up in my house.
Right.
So.
Yeah. We're in the process now of looking. When I say looking, I mean not at all. But I mean like Maya got a book with different like A through Z breeds of puppies. And like she loves animals so much. Like it's almost obnoxious a little bit, because she's like, and I'm like,
no.
Because obviously Nala passed like a month ago or so. And before she did pass, my person was like, we're gonna have to get another dog. Like I need I it's great. Like, I'm home right now. I have time to train a dog. Maya's like, we need to get a dog. So, like, I felt like I was the one backed into a corner. Like, my family wants a dog. What am I supposed to do? Well, I'm like, well, we're just waiting a minute. Okay. We like let Nala breathe. I just got the ashes. Like, she's perched up on the mantle.
Good Lord.
That was a whole thing. Anyway, but now for him, he's like, well, I mean, it's kind of nice not having to worry about anything.
See?
I'm like, right?
See?
And so then now Maya's still like, look at the Shar-Pei. And I'm like, no, you have to clean in between the wrinkles. No.
Right.
You want to clean up the poop?
And so I'm just like, we might have to wait a minute, because now that he sees my partner, now that he's like, oh, well, it is nice. Like, we've had so much to deal with. I'm like, do we really want to bring in something else right this minute?
No, because it's just gonna be you taking care of it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm
I know.
sure you
It's
get home.
always,
You get home
like,
earlier than I'm assuming everybody else. So it's going to be you. And that's what I
Mhm.
didn't account for when I got my puppy.
I
Oh,
counted
yeah.
for
Like,
I
Oscar worked 12-hour shifts.
Mhm.
And I didn't like, I told him, I was like, if we get this dog, you're doing the overnights. And he did do them, but then after a while, he was like, okay, I need to sleep too.
Oh,
of
do
course,
you?
Yeah.
Do you?
So of course, I would wake up at 11. Like, I'd go to sleep at
Mhm.
8, wake up at 11 to walk.
Yeah. It's like,
So-
I don't want to do puppy all that
Just-
stuff. And like, just as just generally in like, for a broad brush stroke here, in heterosexual partnerships, like, it often falls on the woman to be like the unseen master of the house.
Right.
Even though things are very fair in my partnership, I still got to remember all the things. Like, he's happy to do things, and like, luckily he remembers most things, but I'm the one that always has the tally sheet going.
Right.
Mm.
So it's just like a lot of responsibility that I don't really want right now.
That's the
I
one
don't
thing I
want
do pride myself on in my relationship with Abe, is that, like, he's usually right about a lot of things, but I'm the one that can, like, think through all the different scenarios. So, like, when the conversation of a dog happens, I'm like, okay, but like, what happens when, like, right now he's literally on a plane with to help some friends move to St. John for a week and a half. And I'm like, so what would happen then?
Then it's you.
I don't want to do that. I didn't sign up for that. So, like, we need to wait until we know that you're going to be here for a long
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, all right, we live in a high-rise apartment right now. Do you
Yeah.
want to go down when I wake up in the morning and this dog is like, wow, 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 wow? Do you want to go walk downstairs and do it? Do you want to do it? It gets cold here in Charlotte. Do you want to go through all that? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, you make a great point. I'm like, listen, you were right about a lot of things, but I'm the one that will just point out all the details for stuff and be like, let's just go down a day in the life of whatever decision we're trying to make, and let's see if that's something we truly want to do.
Is
That's a
Abe
great point.
available August, the days that we're going to Chicago? Maybe you can give him like a little pre-trial.
Girl, that dog ain't coming in my house.
You got that second room,
honey,
mama.
girl, bye. Ain't coming. You better ask Daddy AJ.
Kelvin, in the entire time that because Miguel and I lived together for 5 years, right? During that time, I got Nala. After Miguel moved out, do you think that Nala went over to his place once?
Oh God.
Never.
Or
And
even
she's tiny.
Or even when we
She was
lived
small.
together, she never came in my room. We had an
No.
agreement, girl. I was like, don't you cross this motherfucking line. This is not it.
She's
No,
so
although-
cute.
She was super, and especially then, like, she was just a little puppy. She
Oh,
was so
she-
cute.
oh, wait a fucking minute. Now everyone's like, she was so cute. She's like,
No, she was
like, that was her. She's like, that was her back then. You were like, fuck this dog. And now
I
you're
know.
like, oh,
I know. But I also loved her. Remember that time that she got lost on New Year's Eve, and I was like, where's Nala? And then I was like, I fucking hate this dog, and I love it too. It's such so crazy. Good times. R.I.P. Nala Boom.
Yeah. R.I.P. All right. Well, that's it. We are done for today. Oh, real quick, Jason wanted to know, Kelbin, is your cat fixed.
She sure is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep,
Let's
yep.
say Laura, hello. Zinda, Lynette, hello. Amy, Doe Eyes, Brian. What did you say here? Yesterday was 1 year since my dad passed from COVID. I can honestly say this podcast has helped me so much and pushed me to talk to someone about how I feel.
Yes.
Love what y'all do. Thank you.
Oh, Brian, I'm so glad we
sorry.
could help. Of course, obviously, condolences, but I'm
Absolutely.
so glad that we could have any shaping in you talking to someone. I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Okay. Garcia PLM 226 on YouTube. Is that right?
Yeah, something.
All right.
I always think that's the vomit emoji.
I know. Is that
I
a
do
mountain?
too. It's like a sun
I'm like-
rising over a mountain, and I think it's puking, but it's
You're
not.
so mean.
It's not.
I was like, oh, well,
Morning.
it's like morning. Janelle said, bye. All right, we're out of here. We will see you all on Wednesday. See you later.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.